What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for rocking with me once again, my friends. All right, listen, I want to chime in on this Bill Burr situation. Bill Burr, the comedian. Remember, the comedian who is currently starring in The Mandalorian, although that is a little bit misleading. Honestly, guys, I doubt that show's even coming back. But anyway, Bill Burr was a presenter on what is passing for the Grammys these days, and he did what Bill Burr does. He made a couple of quips and stuff, like a comedian shouldn't play it safe, and so he didn't. All right, if you want to see a clip of what he said, go somewhere on YouTube. I'm sure you can find it. Maybe I'll find it and leave it in the description below. Check. Okay, so anyway, he made his little comments and stuff. And of course, the cancel culture pitchforks and torches have come for Bill Burr, and he knew that this was going to happen. Remember, he did that interview a couple of weeks back where he was actually defending Gina Carano, and he was saying, what the fuck, I'm on that show, they could be coming for me next. And you had to know it was inevitable, because after all, if you have a free-thinking brain, you have a date with the cancel mob. It's inevitable for you and for me. It's like that guy at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They're coming! They're coming! You're next! That's basically the society that we're living in if you have a free-thinking brain. All right, so Bill Burr said what he said. They came after him. And one of the things that I want to address is this clown-ass Claiborne Griffin. Blue check mark. See, this is the reason why I'm not impressed with blue check marks, all right? Blue check marks, they mean nothing to me, all right? Because obviously you can be an asshole just like anybody else. As a matter of fact, these days, it's more than likely if you have a blue check mark, you're an asshole. I mean, that's not, any disrespect to good, cool blue check marks out there who know where the lines are. I'm just saying the more outspoken ones that you're going to find on Twitter, which everybody knows is a cesspool. So this dude, Claiborne Griffin, all right, with regard to Bill Burr, he says, while I'm not suggesting Bill Burr is a racist, a white man having a non-white wife can sometimes be a sign of racism. So, you shouldn't assume someone isn't racist just because they own a minority sex servant. Did you hear this, motherfucker? All right, anyway, it goes on. They may very well have one because they're racist. All right. Claiborne Griffin says, while I'm not suggesting Bill Burr is a racist, a white man having a non-white wife can sometimes be a sign of racism. So you shouldn't assume someone isn't racist because they own a minority sex servant. They may very well have one because they're racist. Well, there you go, guys. And the reason why I want to talk about this, guys, is because I want to point this out to the black community in particular, because we're living in an age where there's a lot of black people out here, I'm just going to keep it 100, that think somehow the tide is turning and everybody just fucking loves black people and loves to advocate for black people and just bestow us with gifts and favors, you know what I mean? Like just rain down on us all types of grants and money and, all types of stuff. They care so much, but there's a flip side to this, guys. The very people who are out on the mountaintops trumpeting like they care so much about black people, deep down inside, hate your ass and resent you and are the true racists because you haven't even begun to see the end game of what comes behind this. It's kind of like when you feed pigs slop, you know what I mean? Or you feed chickens and shit, you're trying to fatten them up for the slaughter. That's basically the age that we're living in now. They just give black people, or they want to make it seem like that's what they're doing. And then one day, somebody is going to say, you know what? There are certain people in our society that are leeching. They're not producing. All right. And in the past, this has been used to justify the extermination of non-productive, undesirable people, which is what we are being cast as. While these people are talking about Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, get the fuck out of here. No, they don't believe that. They don't believe it at all. Because if they did, then they would go into some of these downtrodden communities and they would actually educate people. All right, they would be an advocate for strong, healthy families instead of putting abortion clinics on every corner and alcohol places, you know what I mean? Liquor stores, you know, and putting drugs and guns and shipping in and producing murder music, you know, to our children to listen to on their headphones. Parents, how many or how often do you listen to what your kids are listening to? Oh, you don't have to. Go to the very Grammys, all right? You would think that instead of being offended by one or two lines that Bill Burr said, you would think they would be offended by Cardi B and Megan the male fucking horse throwing their asses around, wiping their asses around on stage in front of children, in front of a general audience show. You think that would be more offensive than anything that anybody else can say that you would twist their words over. But no, Megan Thee Stallion. Let me tell you something. You never trust a so-called woman who describes herself as a male horse. That's a stallion. That's what she is. Maybe she's trying to tell us something. Megan Thee Stallion. All right. So anyway, whether you like that song or not is irrelevant. All right. Whether it's appropriate for children and for families, that's what's relevant. That's what you should be looking at if you have any type of moral code whatsoever, instead of trying to use a magnifying glass to look at what this white guy said. Oh, it's a white guy. He opened up his mouth. Let's break down and micro manage white people, and whatever they say, we're looking to take advantage or of the opportunity to virtue signal. You know, so that's what you have with this guy, Claiborne Griffin. That's what you have with this bitch dude here. He says that you shouldn't assume someone isn't racist because they own a minority sex servant. This is what they think of us. And we need to spread this because our victimhood is being weaponized against society. Okay? You people might think, oh, it's good we're sticking it to those white people. They've had it their way long enough. No! America just did not get started this minute. We've come a long way. There's been progress. We've worked together. We've played together. We've built together. And now, in this snowflake generation that we're in now, all of a sudden we have a problem with our past. We have to look back on everything. We know that we've had a history in this country. We know that we've had a history of violence, a history of racism, discrimination, brutality, intolerance, like I said before, to religion and gender. But we have progressed in this country, all right? And we will progress. It's absolutely useless to look back and start canceling what came before us, unless somebody just wants everyone to forget so they can inflict those crimes upon us once more. After all, they say a criminal who has something to hide is more than likely to return to the scene of the crime to erase the evidence. That's what we have. That's what's going on today. And while they're doing it, they want to hold up as a distraction how would I put this? They want to hold up as a distraction the cause, all right, or the fake cause of being anti-racist or anti-sexist, you know, or anything that you might imagine, you know, taking one of these groups and they want to act like they want to fly the flag, like they're down with their struggle. But it's really a distraction. And that's what's going on here. And when you see things like this, you have to point it out because people are lapping this shit up. You know, when you go to this guy, Claiborne Griffin's Twitter page, all you see is him calling out racism. Well, that is racist. That's racist. You're racist. They're racist. You know what I mean? But this guy can get away with saying because he owns a minority sex servant. That is that man's wife. His wife. So it's cool to assume that somebody is racist. You can assume that. That's what he says here. All right? You shouldn't assume that someone isn't racist because they own a minority sex servant. So you can assume that. You can assume that ugly thing about that person. But you say that that person owns a minority sex servant as a matter of fact. That's how you identify that man's wife. And nobody calls this blue check mark out for that. With all of these followers. And he continues to go on with his virtue signaling and identity politicking. This is the age we're living in. And if we don't smarten up, we are going to fuck all of this up for our children. And that is my point. That's how I feel about all of this. That's what we need to be remembering. All right? Because I've always said the power of evil, Satan, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call it, doesn't have to rule or lie to people like forever. You know what I mean? It only has to be one generation at a time, one person at a time. So when we get done being lied to and misled and fighting each other and allowing ourselves to be turned against each other, we die with whatever truth we could have told, and then the next generation gets lied to. So we never get anywhere. If we don't stop it here, if we don't challenge it here, then it'll never stop. It'll just continue to go on. So every time you see something like this, you have to speak out about it. And that's what they don't like, because too many people have cameras, too many people have recorders where we can start telling these truths. And we have to. That's the reason why people like Gina Carano stand up, Bill Burr, and all the truth tellers who are out here, all of us who are YouTube content creators who they hate so much, all of the black ones that they don't want to acknowledge because it fucks up their whole narrative. That's the truth that they want to hide. They want society to believe that black people are out here just lapping up their lies and saying, yeah, stick it to Bill Burr. Yeah, he's a racist. Just because he has a black wife doesn't mean anything. You don't even know the man. You don't even know where he comes from, or, whatever. But that's what they want the world to believe, that black people are so fucking easy that we can be led this way. And we must be the most annoying people in the world because we're not taking the time, to analyze this critically. A lot of us, too many of us, and it's not just black people, it's a lot of people. All of us out here are conditioned these days, but at some point you have to hear the bell ringing. And I'm going too long. So listen, guys, get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. I know a lot of us have seen it, but I just want everyone to know how important it is to identify things like this and people like this when you come across them. All right. So as always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and you can check the description. You'll see the link to my Twitter there, as well as a Cash App. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.